important to keep your attendees engaged because in the world that we live in now, everybody's on social media and technology. And when you have the opportunity to bring your people together one-on-one, face-to-face, they're going to get the most out of that kind of a program and make it unique and make it interesting. They will retain more of the content, the relationships that they build will be stronger, and they will have stories to tell for the next event and for the next part of what you're trying to accomplish with your team. The whole idea of meetings is to get your team together and to accomplish the content, but also for engagement, for your participants to interact with each other, retention of the material that you're presenting at an event, and finding ways to increase that retention, and which will lead to productivity, it leads to teamwork, it leads to job satisfaction. All of that is the reason that people have meetings, to one-on-one, in person, not only discuss their content, but also to hit those other items and to bring their teams together. Usually it's in unique settings, so that contributes to what they're trying to achieve. So it might be a reason that you would choose Vermont instead of like a city location. You're one with nature and kind of, so the environment and the content are part of it, but the team engagement, the team building, the relationships within the team, which leads to the retention and the productivity of what you're trying to accomplish in your meetings. I think unique locations do lend to that. For example, we have some very unique indoor and outdoor locations. So everyone's gone to meetings, you're in a room, in a meeting room with a standard setup, and it's the same, it can be anywhere. The difference is we have all these unique locations, whether it be in the meeting rooms or outside the meeting rooms. For example, throughout the resort, we have a lot of different, if you will, lobby settings. So in the conference center, we have a lobby. Outside each meeting room, we have these sitting areas. We have the library. We have the great room off the lobby. So I like to see when groups interact outside of their meeting and go to those locations. So even if you're stopping your meeting for 10 or 15 minutes or even a half an hour, and the teams go to different locations, I think that really lends to the interaction, is that they find unique locations. The other day I was walking the grounds and there were like little circles of chairs set up through all the different outdoor areas where a group was just on their own going out and breaking into, these 10-minute sessions. Like I said, it can be for 10 minutes to a half an hour, but instead of needing 6 breakout rooms, have your meeting room and then just say to people, go wander the property, stretch your legs, take a cup of coffee, have a drink, and go somewhere and with your team members, 3 people or 10 people, and then come back to this location. So I think that really lends to breaking up the meeting and really helping them to not get tired and bored and sitting there, okay, when you're trying to get them to retain the content. I want to just hit in conjunction with 2 specific events that were really creative and did something like that. Back to the environments and taking your meetings and inputting things that we offer at the Equinox to do that for you. So for your break, for example, you can go and do a break, your traditional break, but you can do it with chair massages or chair yoga. You can, if you're over near the golf course, you can do a little putting, just again, to break up, make it interactive. We have a wonderful preserve with the pond pavilion. So if it's not for a meal, or if you're doing like a lunch meeting, you can go out into those environments. But we also have really unique partners. So Land Rover and United eVentures are wonderful team building companies that we work with that do short or long-term interactive things. So I think, again, getting away from the meeting, traditional meeting room or meeting location, you can cover all your content out on the Land Rover course. United Adventures can come in any of these areas that I've talked about and incorporate something that makes it unique. I did have a couple of events that incorporated music, which I think is really unique. So whether it be a musical chairs, so they start music and it's like you have to get up and mingle around, and they'll give some task, but then when the music stops, you're where you are. So you're in a different seat, you're in a different location. And I really thought that was really fun. And I had one group that started really early, and they actually had a marching band, like just a drummer or somebody come in. I think getting people, their heart pumping and getting them up and about really lends to that. So I have two great examples. One that was during winter program, and it was a March program, and they were very creative. They do this at all of their annual meeting every year, but it's always a different location. So they make it really unique. So at the Equinox, they did what they called a Sparty. So it's a spa party, but it really was engaging in what they were bringing different partners together from their own companies into their program. So they really wanted them to engage. So at the party, and it was a mixed group, it was definitely men and women. They had things from create your own skin scrub to these mini yoga, relaxation. They had a sound meditation. We have a wonderful relaxation room as well as the fitness center over at the spa. And they had a number of unique activities there. And then they did mini treatments. So again, you're taking a half-day program rather than being in a meeting room, and you're taking that half day or even a full day, but this was specifically a half day, and they went over to the spa. Then when they got back, they had their kind of trade show, and people were then sharing their products and things that kind of went along with that. So it tied their company, their products, and introducing people from the different companies that were part of their organization. Again, that was March. So people sometimes are like, what do you do at this season, or what do you do at that season? We really are year round. There's so much to do in the winter. Give Land Rover as an example. It really is a year round. I mean, Land Rover in the snow is much different than in the mud, is much different in fall foliage, but it's all like really exciting and unique. This particular program was in March. It was a full house, and it was amazing. So great. And then we just recently had one in June. Again, you have a wonderful summer night, and you're trying to engage your attendees, and they're doing it outdoors. Again, we have a lot of outdoor areas where that they can get together, and they're doing an outdoor movie night. You have axe throwing, and then you have the team building. Part of that is like a signature team cocktail. So each team makes their own cocktail for the party, and that is incorporated into the event for the evening. So those are two great examples of thinking outside the box. Everybody always says that, thinking outside the box, but really changing it from going to a meeting, session to session, exhibit to exhibit, and making it unique and creative. Going to the exhibit part of that, I really like to see, because I exhibit at a lot of events. I go to a lot of events. So I've seen things at my property as well as other properties. And I think when people think outside the box with exhibitors, that is really a great interactive to the group as well. So you don't have to have an exhibit room with 20 exhibitors in it. You can have sessions where 5 exhibitors are during this session. Most of these are multiple days. So exhibitors on day 1 or this, and they're really spending time with the exhibitor and getting the content that they want out of that partner. They can do, again, some of these unique locations. And then was popular was always the speed dating type of format and you can do that again in a lot of these unique locations where they're going to a certain area and spending 10 minutes one-on-one, and you don't have to have your 6-foot table and your chair and your banner. So that's a way a lot of groups that come to the Equinox have an exhibitor component. So I like it when people try to look at that component of their program in a unique way. I've been to a lot of locations where you're waiting. Where are they? They went outside because it's a beautiful day and they're taking their break to go outside and get some fresh air. Well, what if you had little areas outside where people were set up, and then they could do that instead of asking them to go into another meeting room and again, go from table to table. So indoors, outdoors, year round, there's so many different locations if you want to be creative about your exhibitor component of your program.